All right, so buckle up, everyone, because today we are going deep, deep, deep into the history of something, well, maybe a little unexpected.
Unexpected is putting it lightly.
Yeah, we're talking about the floppy disk.
The floppy disk.
Oh,
yeah.
no, I know. You might be thinking, really? Floppy disks?
Mm.
But trust me on this one.
It's a surprisingly fascinating story, full of twists and turns.
More than you'd think, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've got timelines, articles, even encyclopedia entries, and
Thought we went deep.
we did. We really dug in.
So, just to set the stage, what are we really trying to understand here?
I think the big question is, how did this little piece of tech that we all probably remember, at least some of us, how did it come to be? How did it rise to total dominance? And then how did it ultimately fade away?
Yeah, and the fadeaway is almost more interesting than the rise to dominance, isn't it?
Yeah, because, these things were everywhere.
Oh, totally. Like the save icon that's a floppy disk.
Exactly. It's embedded in our cultural memory.
So rewind with me.
Way back.
Way back to the late 1960s, bell bottoms, the whole thing.
The whole groovy scene.
And we're at IBM, Big Blue, and they've got a problem.
They did have a problem.
They needed a cheap way to ship microcode, which is basically the instructions for their big mainframe systems, right?
Yeah, and they were looking for something more reliable and cheaper than what they were using at the time.
I mean, imagine shipping punch cards. That's got to be boxes and boxes.
Oh, yeah, logistical nightmare.
Total nightmare. So in 1971, boom, the floppy disk is born.
8 inches in diameter.
8 inches, that's huge.
That's massive compared to what we're used to. And it was read only, so you could only read data from it, not write to it. And it had a whopping 80 kilobytes of storage.
80 kilobytes. My phone can hold 1,000,000 times that.
Yeah, and it had a cute little nickname too, the minnow.
The minnow.
Yeah, I guess, it must have seemed tiny compared to what they were using before.
So picture this. These early floppies. Totally bare.
No case, just the disk itself.
Vulnerable to everything. Dust, dirt, you name it.
Yeah, not ideal for reliability.
And that's actually what led to one of the key features of the floppy disk as we know it, right?
Absolutely. They needed to protect the disk, so they started enclosing it in this envelope lined with fabric, to trap dust particles.
It's like the first dust jacket.
Yeah, exactly. A dust jacket for your data.
But at this point, it's still mostly an IBM thing, an internal tool.
Not really for the public yet.
Not yet. But then, 1972, Memorex enters the scene.
Memorex, yeah, those guys.
And they drop a bombshell. The Memorex 650, the first commercially available read-write floppy disk drive.
Still 8 inches.
But now you can not only read, but also write data.
Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, actually saving stuff, game changer.
Oh, totally. It opened up a whole new world of computing, of data storage. It's like the beginning of personal computing right there.
Now, I do have to ask about something called hard sector disks.
Oh, yeah, that's an important detail. So in the early days, a lot of these floppy disks were hard sectored, meaning they had physical holes punched in to mark sectors for data organization.
So pre-slicing the pie for easy serving?
Exactly. It's a good analogy. So each sector could hold a certain amount of data, and the drive could easily find it because of those physical markers.
And just for context, IBM did eventually release their own read-write floppy drive, the 33FD.
In 1973, yeah.
But things were already moving towards smaller formats.
Oh, yeah, the miniaturization was just beginning.
So fast forward to 1976, disco is in full swing.
Platform shoes, the whole deal.
And Shugart Associates introduces the 5.25-inch floppy disk drive.
This is the one that a lot of people will remember, the classic floppy disk size.
And it was a game changer, right?
Absolutely. It was smaller, more affordable, and it really took off with the rise of early microcomputers.
Like the computers that were actually starting to show up in people's homes and offices.
Exactly. These weren't mainframes anymore. These were personal computers.
So the 5.25-inch floppy disk really became synonymous with this whole new wave of personal computing.
Yeah, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were a lot of different formats floating around.
Well, the format wars, right?
Oh, yeah, it got messy. There were different sectoring schemes, different encoding methods, track densities. It was a bit of a Wild West.
So wait, encoding schemes, can you break that down for me? What is that exactly?
Think of it like different languages for storing data on the disk. Some are more efficient. They let you pack more information onto the same space.
Okay, so some languages are more concise than others.
Yeah, exactly. It's about how you represent the data, the ones and zeros, in a way that the drive can read.
So who emerged as a leader from this chaotic mix of formats?
Well, Steve Wozniak over at Apple, he developed a really clever encoding scheme called group coded recording, or GCR, and that's what they used in their Disk 2 drive. And that allowed them to squeeze a then whopping 140 kilobytes onto a single-sided 5.25-inch floppy.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, they were really pushing the limits, right?
Oh, absolutely. Always trying to get more bang for your buck, more storage.
And speaking of pushing limits, there's that whole thing with floppy disks, right? People cutting notches so they could use both sides.
Oh yeah, the legendary floppy disks double your storage, but at your own risk.
Yeah, I can imagine some data getting lost in the process.
Yeah, not the most reliable method, but hey, people were creative.
Necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Exactly, exactly. They wanted more storage, and they were willing to take some risks to get it.
But even with all the clever workarounds, the 5.25-inch floppy eventually hit its limits, right?
Oh yeah, it was only a matter of time before something new came along.
Something smaller, something with more storage.
Something to usher in a new era of floppy disks, but that's a story for another time. Welcome back to our deep dive into floppy disk history.
All right, so last time we left off, the 5.25-inch floppy disk, king of the hill, started to show its age.
Yeah, the limitations were becoming pretty clear.
Right. So, like, what happened next? What filled that need for more storage, more portability?
Well, like we talked about, there were all these different sizes floating around.
Right, the 2-inch, the 3-inch, it was like a floppy disk free-for-all.
It really was a battle for floppy disk supremacy, you could say.
And the winner is... Drumroll, please.
The 3.5-inch format.
Ah, yes. The 3.5-inch.
Pioneered by Sony, first appeared in '81 with, a pretty modest capacity at first, but
destined for greatness.
destined for greatness, exactly.
I mean, that's the one I remember, that rigid plastic case. So much more durable than those flimsy 5.25s.
Oh, yeah, night and day, and the sliding right protect tab. Much more compact. It was, designed with usability in mind.
They really thought about the user experience, even back then.
They did, which is, probably part of why it ultimately won out.
Won out, but it wasn't an immediate success, was it? I mean, it took some time for the 3.5-inch to really become the standard.
You're right. It wasn't an overnight thing. A key factor was the Microfloppy Industry Committee, or MIC.
Catchy name.
Yeah, they worked with Sony to, actually establish a standard for the 3.5-inch format, which is, huge because it meant compatibility across different manufacturers.
So it wasn't just about the tech itself, but about, industry collaboration, setting standards.
Exactly, because without that, you end up with the same kind of mess we saw with the 5.25-inch.
Right, the format wars, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. So, yeah, the MIC played a big role in the 3.5-inch's eventual success.
Okay, so Apple, known for sometimes going their own way, when did they finally embrace the 3.5-inch?
Their adoption was a turning point, actually, when they chose the 3.5-inch format for the Macintosh in '84. I mean, that sent a strong signal to the rest of the industry.
Okay, this is the one.
Yeah, pretty much. If Apple's on board, it's probably going to be big.
So Apple, despite the twiggy misstep, ended up playing a crucial role in the 3.5-inch's dominance. That's interesting.
It is. It shows that even the big players, they have to adapt, have to be part of the broader ecosystem.
But even with the standard format, there was still competition, right? Different densities.
Oh, absolutely. The density wars, a battle to cram as much data onto those little squares as possible.
Density wars sounds intense.
It was. I mean, density basically refers to how tightly you can pack the data onto the disk. Higher density equals more storage.
So a higher thread count on your sheets.
Yeah, kind of, except instead of threads, it's bits of data.
Okay, got it. So what were some of the key players in these density wars?
Well, initially, Apple was using single-sided 3.5-inch disks with a 400 KB capacity, using their GCR, that group-coded recording they developed.
Right.
And then IBM-compatible PCs were using 360 KOB single-sided disks with a different encoding scheme called MFM, Modified Frequency Modulation.
So even though they were both 3.5-inch, you couldn't necessarily use one in a computer designed for the other.
Yeah, not initially, no. It created another compatibility headache.
Oof, headaches. Nobody wants those.
Nobody wants... Things started to shift with the arrival of Double-sided discs, though.
Okay, double-sided, that's a big jump.
It is. Apple introduced double-sided 800 KB discs, still using GCR, and IBM came out with 720 kbp double-sided discs using MFM.
So storage is steadily increasing.
Oh yeah, it's a constant march towards more storage.
What was the next big jump?
The one that most people probably remember, the high-density or HD 3.5-inch floppy disk. This became the standard by the late 80s, offering a capacity of, well, it's usually advertised as 1.44 millibytes.
Advertised. Is there something we should know?
Well, it's a bit of a technicality, but that 1.44 millibyte figure is slightly off.
Oh, Scullity.
The actual capacity is 1,440 kilobytes, but it's often divided by 1,000 instead of 1024.
Okay, so not quite 1.44 millibytes, but close enough. Still a huge leap from those early 8-inch discs holding just 80 kilobytes.
Oh yeah, massive increase in storage capacity.
It's amazing how far things came out.
It really is. And the HD format, it marked a period of, like, relative stability in the floppy disk world.
Like, finally, a standard everyone could agree on.
Pretty much, yeah. But even the HD format wasn't the end of the density wars.
There's more.
There's more. There was actually an even higher density format called ED, or extra high density, offering 2.88 millibytes of storage.
2.88 millibit on a floppy disk. Why haven't I ever heard of this?
It appeared around 1990, but by then other technologies were emerging that would ultimately, like, overshadow the floppy disk, no matter how much data you could cram onto it.
So this is where we start to see the decline of the floppy disk's reign, the beginning of the end.
Yeah, the mid-90s, that's the turning point. Zip disks, recordable CDs, and eventually USB flash drives, all offering significantly more storage and faster data transfer speeds.
The writing was on the wall.
It was. The limitations of the floppy disk were becoming very clear.
And there's one event that really signaled the beginning of the end, right?
There is. Are you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
In 1998, Apple releases the iMac G3, sleek, colorful, designed to be internet-friendly.
I remember those. They were everywhere.
They were, and this iMac, it was missing something crucial.
Don't tell me. The floppy drive.
The floppy drive, gone. It was a statement, a bold move.
A statement indeed, like the future is digital downloads, internet connectivity, new storage formats.
Exactly. The floppy disk, it was becoming obsolete.
So is that the final nail in the coffin?
Pretty much for mainstream computing, yeah. I mean, it lingered in niche applications, industrial settings mostly.
Industrial settings. Like how so?
Think like factory equipment, medical devices, even military systems, machines designed to last for decades, often relying on software or data stored on floppy disks.
So like they couldn't just easily switch to newer tech.
Right. It's a matter of inertia. Sometimes those legacy machines are so critical that it's safer, more reliable to stick with what works, even if it's outdated.
It's incredible that floppy disks were still being used in such important areas.
It is, and there's one example that always raises eyebrows.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
As recently as 2016, the U.S. government was still using floppy disks to control nuclear forces.
Hold on, you're saying like floppy disks were managing things like intercontinental ballistic missiles?
Yep. According to a report from the U.S. Government Accountability Office, they were using these ancient IBM Series 1 mini computers that relied on 8-inch floppy disks for managing nuclear forces.
That's both amazing and a little terrifying.
It is, isn't it? It highlights just how persistent these legacy systems can be, especially in critical infrastructure.
But even those holdouts eventually have to move on, right?
They do. In 2024, the Japanese government, which was, famously reliant on floppy disks for administrative tasks, they finally announced they were phasing them out completely.
So that's it, the end of the line for the floppy disk. No more whirring and clicking.
For all practical purposes, yes. I mean, new floppy disks aren't being manufactured anymore, and even the old stockpiles are dwindling.
So it's truly a relic of the past.
It is, but its legacy lives on. I mean, we still see that little square with the arrow, the save icon.
It's become a symbol of data storage itself.
Exactly. A reminder of a time when saving your work was a physical, tactile experience.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We're wrapping up our look at the history of the floppy disk.
And last time, we were talking about how the floppy disk was starting to face some serious competition.
Yeah, those mid-90s, it was like a turning point, wasn't it?
Definitely, a lot of new technologies were emerging.
Like, remember those zip disks? I remember those being like the hot new...
Oh yeah, the zip disks from iOmega, they were offering a massive 100 millibit of storage.
Which, compared to a floppy disk, was huge.
It was huge, yeah. Huge leap forward in terms of capacity.
But I also remember them being kind of bulky.
Yeah, they were a bit bigger than floppy disks.
And you needed that special drive.
You couldn't just pop a zip disk into your regular floppy drive.
Right, so that was a drawback.
It was, and that's part of why they ultimately lost out to other contenders.
Like CDRs, those recordable CDs, those really took off.
They did, yeah. Late 90s, everyone was burning music mixes.
Oh, yeah, the mixed CDs, good times.
And CDRs, they had several advantages over zip disks. I mean, they were smaller, they could hold even more data.
How much could they hold?
Around 650 millibit.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and they worked with existing CD-ROM drives, which were becoming, like, standard on computers.
So you didn't need to buy a separate drive just to use them.
Exactly, which made them much more appealing to the average user.
Plus, they were marketed for making custom music CDs, which was like a huge selling point back then.
Absolutely. It was the perfect time for CDRs to really capture the market.
But even CDRs, they eventually faced their own, like, formidable opponent.
They did, yeah. The rise of the USB flash drive.
The little thumb drives, I mean, it's hard to imagine life without them now.
I know, right? They're so convenient, just like pop it in your pocket.
So much storage in such a tiny package.
And no moving parts, no delicate disks to worry about.
So was that it for the floppy disk? Was that the final blow?
Pretty much, yeah. USB flash drives, they offered everything the floppy disk did, but better.
More storage, smaller size, faster.
Exactly. It was like a no-brainer for most users.
It's amazing how quickly technology evolves, isn't it?
It really is. It's relentless.
But where does that leave the floppy disk today?
Well, for practical purposes, it's a relic of the past. New ones aren't being made.
Right, it's like a museum piece now.
Yeah, pretty much. But its legacy, it persists. You know, we still see that save icon.
That little square with the arrow, it's iconic.
It is. It's become a symbol of data storage itself.
It's a reminder of a time when saving your work was a physical action, you know? You had to, like, insert the disk, hear that whirring sound.
It was a tangible experience.
It really makes you think about what we take for granted today and what
Yeah.
will be like the floppy disk of the future.
That's a good question. What will future generations look back on with the same kind of like nostalgia and wonder?
It's fascinating to think about.
It is. I mean, the floppy disk, it was revolutionary in its time. It enabled like personal computing, data sharing, things we just take for granted now.
And it all started with that quest for a better way to ship microcode.
It's amazing how these seemingly small innovations can have such a huge ripple effect.
So while the floppy disk may have spun its last revolution, its story is far from over.
It's a story of ingenuity, of competition, and ultimately the relentless march of progress.
And it's a reminder that even though technologies come and go, their impact can be lasting.
Absolutely. They shape the way we interact with the world, the way we create and share information.
So thank you, floppy disk, for all you've done.
I salute you.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us on this deep dive into the history of the floppy disk.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of tech.